Influence is earned, not demanded. Sinek. From the first moment you step into a room, you carry a simple truth. Influence is not a badge you pin on your lapel. It is a trust you build, brick by careful brick. Imagine you're walking into your office on a Monday morning. Your heart is full of ideas, your mind buzzing with plans for new products, new partnerships, new ways to grow. You look around at your team, bright, eager faces, and in that instant, you understand. They don't owe you their best. They choose to give it when they feel seen, heard, and valued. You recall the early days. You were fresh out of business school, brimming with theories about leadership. You marched into your first startup pitch meeting with slides that dazzled and projections that soared. You expected respect. Instead, you met polite nods and guarded questions. You left the room puzzled. Why didn't your vision automatically win their hearts? It took you months to realize that charisma alone wouldn't spark loyalty. Influence must be earned through genuine connection. So you set out on a mission to learn how to earn influence the right way. Day one of this journey, you make a promise to yourself. Before you ask for a commitment, you will give one. You will listen more than you speak. You will serve more than you demand. Each morning, you carve out 10 minutes to connect, no agendas, no KPIs. Just share a coffee with someone on your team. You ask about their weekends, their dreams, their challenges, and you listen, really listen, letting their words guide your own. Within a week, something shifts. You discover that Maria, your lead developer, harbors ideas for streamlining the product roadmap. She's been holding back, worried you won't take her suggestions seriously. When you invite her into planning sessions and act on her feedback, you see her shoulders relax, her contributions soar. You didn't demand her best. You earned it by showing you cared. As the weeks pass, you layer in more habits. You start every meeting by acknowledging recent wins, big and small. When someone conquers a tough bug, closes a new client, or simply helps a colleague, you celebrate them. These moments of recognition become the mortar that binds your team together. They know you notice, they know you appreciate, and in that space of safety and respect, genuine influence grows. By month 2, you face your first real test. A competitor launches a flashy feature that threatens your market share. Investors are asking for a response. You could bark orders, ramp up development, sharpen marketing, punish laggards. Instead, you pause. You call in your product team and say, "Teach me what you see." You let the experts, your own people, take the lead. You gather customer feedback, and they point to a deeper need you hadn't considered. You pivot, adding a complementary feature that not only matches the competitor, but resolves a pain point they ignored. Your investors are thrilled, not because you forced your will upon the market, but because you demonstrated trust in your team and confidence in the process. You earned influence over your board by showing humility and curiosity. They follow you because they believe in your approach, not simply because you hold the title of CEO. In month 3, you stretch beyond your immediate circle. You host a community event for small business owners. Over coffee and pastries, you share your story, failures as candidly as successes. You answer questions honestly, even when they reveal gaps in your strategy. In that room, you build influence not through slick presentations, but through transparency. Every nod, every note taken, every follow-up email you send cements your reputation as someone who leads with integrity. Soon after, an invitation arrives. Speak at a regional entrepreneurs conference. You accept, not to bask in the spotlight, but to serve. On stage, you tell a story about Jamal, the founding marketer on your team who taught you the power of listening over lecturing. You describe how he organized customer listening sessions that reshaped your strategy. You shine the light on him. The audience responds with applause, not just for your words, but for your generosity. You didn't demand their attention. You earned it by honoring someone else's contribution. As spring turns to summer, you weave the principle of earned influence into every aspect of your business. You empower frontline team members to make decisions. When a customer support specialist spots an issue, you authorize her to deploy fixes immediately rather than escalate them. You trust her judgment. She responds by taking ownership of customer satisfaction metrics. Influence flows down, up, and across into every corner of your organization. By month 5, You're mentoring two emerging leaders within your company, Priya in operations and Carlos in sales. You could have dictated their development plans, but instead you ask each to define their own growth goals. You co-create a roadmap. They set milestones. You offer resources and guidance. Their progress is staggering. You realize that influence multiplies when you help others influence their teams. You become a force amplifier. When summer heat peaks, you encounter a personal crossroads. A long-time customer partner has questions about your company's values. They worry that rapid growth might erode the culture you once championed. You could offer canned reassurances, but you choose a different path. You invite them to visit your headquarters. You host an open forum with your entire team. You tell your own story, how the principle "influence is earned, not demanded" guides every decision. You demonstrate your culture through real conversations. By the end of the day, your partner's concerns dissolve, replaced by confidence in your authenticity. Heading into the second half of the year, you face a new challenge: scaling up. Hiring doubles your headcount. You worry that the intimacy you've built will fracture. So you launch a mentorship circle program. Every new hire is paired with a company veteran. They meet weekly for coffee chats and shadowing sessions. You personally kick off the program, sharing stories of how mentorship shaped your own journey. Influence extends as mentors earn trust by guiding novices, and novices gain confidence knowing someone has their back. In month 8, you pitch for a major strategic alliance with an industry leader. Your counterpart is a well-known executive with decades of experience. You could have led with demands. Your company needs this partnership to hit next quarter targets. But you lead with questions. What problems are you solving? What gaps do you see? How could we support your vision? You listen intently. You adapt your proposal to their needs. They appreciate your approach. The deal closes not because you bulldoze terms, but because you showed genuine interest in their success. You earned the right to influence the partnership. As the leaves turn in month 9, you take a step back for reflection. You host a retreat for your leadership team on a quiet lake. No agendas, no slide decks, just shared meals, storytelling around a fire, and guided discussions on values and vision. You ask each leader to share an example of how they've earned influence within their departments. Through these stories, you reinforce the culture you've cultivated. You listen and learn. You set intentions for the coming months, guided by the principle you've lived all year. In month 10, a crisis strikes. A data breach threatens customer trust. You could have sent a perfunctory apology and hoped for the best. Instead, you lead with transparency. You call a company-wide town hall. You admit where the security gaps were, outline immediate remediation steps, and promise full accountability. You open the floor to tough questions. You treat your team and customers like adults. By owning the mistake, you reinforce your credibility. Influence is renewed, even strengthened, because you honored truth above comfort. Entering the final quarter, you prepare for an ambitious end-of-year launch, an integrated service offering that transforms your product suite. You rally your forces once more, weaving every lesson learned, listening first, collaborating second, leading by serving, and always earning influence through trust. You set up cross-functional teams, each led by someone who has earned your confidence through demonstrated excellence. Launch day comes. Every piece falls into place. Marketing buzz, smooth onboarding, customer delight. Your team's pride radiates. Investors congratulate you not just on the numbers, but on the way you built a company that people choose to follow. Your influence within your industry is no accident. It is the result of every conversation where you chose empathy over entitlement, service over self-interest. On the last day of this journey, you stand at your window overlooking the city lights. You reflect on a year defined by one guiding belief: influence is earned, not demanded. You remember the first pitch meeting where nods felt dull, the competitor threat that invited collaboration instead of commands, and the data breach that cemented transparency as your greatest asset. You see how each story, Maria's product insight, Jamal's marketing wisdom, your mentor's probing question, has been a thread in the fabric of your influence, and you realize with quiet pride that influence is more than power, it is responsibility. It is the pledge you renew each morning when you choose curiosity over certainty, compassion over control, and service over status. As you look ahead, You know this principle will guide you through every boardroom, every investor call, every late-night brainstorming session. You carry it like a compass, pointing you toward authentic leadership, sustainable growth, and lasting impact. Influence is not a trophy to demand. It is a legacy you earn through every thoughtful gesture and every moment you honor the humanity in those you lead. And once you embrace this truth, you find that others naturally gravitate toward you. Not out of obligation, but out of trust and shared purpose. That, after all, is the greatest influence of all.